earlier in the year, I really tried to avoid all the Sheryl Swoopes related stuff with Caitlin Clark because obviously Sheryl was just hating, and there wasn't really much that could be done about it. But it's become such a mainstream story now, and Swoopes was at it again. She was on Gil's Arena, and really that was the site of the beginning of this when she made the Kelsey Plum comment about Clark breaking Plum's record in more years, even though she didn't take more years to do it, and so on and so forth. It has continued and continued and continued. And yesterday, the big topic was Swoopes saying that Clark wasn't dominant, which was funny because a lot of fans clapped back at her for that with statistics, more or less. The MVP numbers for Swoopes, as you can see, this guy, Mr. Smith Marrero, says, here are Sheryl Swoopes' MVP numbers, compares them to Clark's numbers. If Caitlin isn't dominant now, Swoopes never was. Swoopes also, by the way, did decline to call her own seasons dominant on the show. So she sort of diminished herself in order to keep shading Caitlin. The Clark report also shared one. This was a graphic of one of Swoopes' MVP years with Clark's rookie year. As you can see, that the point is obviously to be that Clark's first season is better than Sheryl's best seasons, right? And people can have fun with that. I had fun with the idea, or not the idea, the actual statistical fact that Clark's career high is now higher than Swoopes' career high after the game against the Wings on Sunday. And those all serve as a clapback, right? Clark's stats, Clark's on-court performance serves as a clapback. But there was another aspect of this interview that was kind of worse than the dominant conversation. Because if that had come up before all of the other Swoopes hating, I don't know if it would be the same level of reaction. It's really a debate about semantics and who really cares. But because of Swoopes' history, she doesn't really get the benefit of the doubt. I had people in the comment section on X to me yesterday talking about like, well, Swoopes apologized. Why is this still going on? Because she continues to do it over and over again, whether it's, saying the Sky would make the playoffs without or the Sky wouldn't make the playoffs without Reese, and the Fever would make the playoffs without Caitlin, or not mentioning Caitlin at all when crediting the Fever players, or going silent when Caitlin's achievement was brought up on the broadcast, to coming back again, like it just over and over again all year long. But this was the strangest part of the latest appearance. And Martell Parks had initially sent me clips of this in the DMs, and then Ken Swift wrote this on X. Of all the things Swoopes said today, what bothered me most was to imply there's problems in the Fever locker room and that KM and AB are better off elsewhere. Of course, that meaning Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston. And here is the comment in question.
That's not my point. There's a lot of other shit going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Around there.
It's a lot. Yeah. So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, I don't
want to be here.
This is where I want to be.
Yeah. Melissa,
there's a lot of shit going on. What kind of things do you say?
I'm not in the locker room.
Okay.
I'm talking about more social media.
Okay. It's a turn. Right? It's a turn, right? It's really a turn of the tides.
Gil, here's my point. The beginning of the year, right? Everybody saw it. The Fever played, I don't know how many games.
6.
Shit, but tons, right? They played a lot of games the first half of the season.
Yeah.
And you can see the difference that rest made for this team, for individual players and for the team. But the beginning of the year, you have a player like an Aaliyah Boston, who was Rookie of the Year last year, #1 draft pick, a hell of a player. But because things weren't going the way everybody thought they should, then you got social media coming out, calling her everything but a child of God. Made the kid delete her social media. And now that they're winning and she's playing better, oh my God, we love you, Aaliyah.
Yeah.
But my thing is this. So what happens when Aaliyah ain't playing well again?
It's back to
what I mean? And so as a player,
back to it.
As a player, do you want to continue to stay in a situation where you keep yourself vulnerable to all of the hate that you know is going to come to you if you're not playing the way everybody thinks you should be playing.
But the grass ain't
And that's
greener.
even people who don't know basketball.
Grass ain't greener on the other side.
No.
You go to another team thinking it's going to be different. It's the same and everything.
But if you're a player, and I'm just using Aaliyah as an example because Aaliyah is not a free agent. But if you're a player like an Aaliyah Boston, you know the worth you bring to any other franchise. Now, and you know how that works. Not every player who's a free agent should leave because the grass probably ain't gonna be greener for you.
Facts.
But a player like a Kelsey Mitchell could be very valuable to
Anywhere. Yeah. Facts.
That is very strange behavior from Sheryl Swoopes, if I'm being real about it, because she implies or alludes to having inside information about unrest in the Fever locker room. And then when asked about it, says, oh, I don't know anything. So she's making it up. She's completely speculating, almost trying to plant seeds of negativity amongst the Fever teammates. And for what? And for what? Because they get covered a lot on social media. You know, a lot of the WNBA discourse, it's like a big realization. Nobody followed sports before or has ever seen what it's like when a sport is followed by a lot of people. Because that's what's happening here. It's just a lot of people now focusing on the sport. So more commenters, more everything. It just gets magnified. And you know what else gets magnified? The appreciation for Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell. Because those two have been appreciated and celebrated more this season than they ever had in their career before. A lot of people, and Kelsey deserved to be recognized before, but a lot of people know who she is now. And they certainly are celebrating her on-court play. She'd been in Indiana for 7 seasons? And now she's having the best year of her career that's highlighted on a national stage. Aaliyah Boston, #1 pick last year, is now, top 3 in all-star votes as a result of who she played with. And sure, fans were critical at the beginning of the season. She wasn't playing well. Now you see fans wearing Boston and Mitchell jerseys and putting them on signs and all that stuff as part of the celebration around the Fever. Their entire profile and their winning is being elevated based on playing with Caitlin Clark. So I think they can handle a few social media comments here and there when the overwhelming amount, I'm sure right now, are positive. And again, that doesn't defend any hatefulness or any, I don't know how many times I have to say that. It should almost be a disclaimer. Of course, that should all be, repudiated. But in this instance, it's just another case of Sheryl Swoopes, something's going on there. Something's going on there. And she continues to make herself a story in a way that all these new fans are going to think of her like that rather than thinking about her on-court accomplishments in the past, which is kind of a shame and kind of sad. But yeah, that was, I don't know another word for it. It was strange.